Guys, the off-campus series is officially out. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I've already watched the first 2 episodes and I've taken notes and I'm here to talk about it with you guys. I can't share like full clips on here because YouTube will take this down if I try to. However, I can share some of the notes I've made when I watched this the first time as I kind of like rewatch it with you guys. Anyway, so the scene is like, the first scene is like a montage where Garrett and Hannah, hold on, I'm gonna turn this down because it's kind of loud. I know you can't hear it, but I'm wearing headphones and it's kind of loud. Anyway, so this is a montage. This is a montage where Garrett was kind of like training and Hannah was working, and she walks in on him in the shower and he's like full on naked, and he turns around because I guess he can sense her standing there staring at him, and he turns around and he's like, are you looking for someone? And she's like freaking out because she like snaps out of it and she's like staring at his front, and she tries to get away and she like falls over. It's very funny, but it's also like horrifying. This next scene is like the OG first chapter in the book, if you've read the book, and they're basically, guys, Bo, guys, I literally cried so much when I saw him, when I noticed that was Bo when I was watching it the first time. Anyway, so the next scene, hey, I forgot to mention that I'm trying to make figures of every scene, and this was the last one, and I wanted you guys to guess what I made. Like, if you guys if you guys know what this is from the previous scene that we just watched, please comment in the comments. Leave it in the comments. Anyway, so now they're in the ethics class, and Hannah just basically lied to her friend about how she like failed the test, the class, like the paper they just got back, but she didn't fail. She actually aced it. Garrett, however, is failing horribly. So he like looks over at Hannah's paper and he notices that she's doing good, and he's like, wait, you aced it? And Hannah's like, do you mind? And he's like, what? So you're the only one that gets to look at things you're not supposed to? Referring to the fact that she was watching him in the shower. Hilarious. Anyway, so next scene is he basically follows her out of the class, and he's like, hey Mona, wait up. And she's like talking to her friends, and he keeps going, Mona. And everybody's confused. They're like, who's Mona? And he walks up to her. He's like, yo, Mona. And she's like, who's Mona? She's like, my name is not Mona. And Garrett is like, it does start with an M, right? And you see, if I were Mona, I would be very annoyed at him. I would walk away. I wouldn't be standing there talking to him after he just like got my name wrong and then didn't ask me what my name is. Anyway, Mona is kind enough to keep talking to him. And you know what he says to her? He goes, I need your help. And Mona's like, you see, when people ask questions, usually their voices kind of go up at the end. Yours didn't do that. And he's like, would you pretty please with sugar on? Okay, my camera cut off for a while there, so if this is like kind of jumbled, I'm sorry. Anyway, so he's like, will you pretty please with sugar on top help me so I don't fail spectacularly? Anyway, she says no. Obviously, I would say no. And he's like, hey, actually, you owe me. She's like, what? He's like, for the show I gave you the other day. And she's like, tons of girls would have paid good money for that. See, again, if I was Mona, I would have been very annoyed with this man. But she's kind enough to just like tell him no and walk away. And then she gets on her like bike and she's zooming away. She's literally zooming through campus. She's so fast on that thing, you guys. She's doing tricks, she's doing wheelies. And then she realizes she's actually late for her. Wait, this, I'm trying to, wait, I'm failing so hard. Hold on, give me 1 second. I need to finish with the previous scene. Can you guys tell what I was trying to make? I don't know. Wait. Okay, anyway, she gets to her. Can you guys tell what I was trying to make? She gets to her class and she's late, and everybody's already kind of practicing her music class. If you didn't know, she's a music major. She does like classical music. And so anyway, her professor wants to talk to her after the practice or whatever they're doing. And she thinks it's just because she was late. She finds out that because of budget cuts, her scholarship has been taken away from her. So she's kind of wondering if there's another scholarship she can apply for, because she does not want to talk to the financial aid office, because she doesn't want them to give her another like work study job, because she's already got like her hands full. She's juggling a lot. Anyway, so she talks to her professor and she decides that she's going to write a pop song, I think, because it comes with a scholarship for first place. And while it's like steep competition, she's kind of determined, and she'd rather do this than speak to like the financial aid office. Anyway, I have to say that when I was watching this the first time, I did think that Hannah's like solo, when it was just Hannah on screen, you know, with like her friends or her professor or whatever, I was very interested. With Garrett, not so much. I was more interested in Garrett when he was like interacting with Hannah, and I think it was just because, I don't know, like most of Garrett's like initial like scenes of just him without Hannah is like he's like talking to another girl, or he's talking about, he's like being cocky and kind of annoying. Okay, we're getting an ad. So I didn't enjoy that very much, but yeah, whatever. Guys, the moment we've all been waiting for. John Tucker, John Logan, and Dean are gracing our screens right now. I'm so excited. I literally screamed so loud when I saw John Tucker. Wait! Oh my god. Oh my god. Isn't he gorgeous, guys? He's so gorgeous. I feel like a lot of people were a little bit disappointed on like the casting of, say, John Tucker and Dean. I love the casting for Dean. I think he's the perfect Dean, and I like John Tucker. I think all the guys, I think the casting is perfect for everyone. I love Allie. I love her hair. I know everybody was expecting her to be blonde, understandable, but I just love her. I love her vibe. I think the casting is perfect. So in this scene, Garrett's friends were kind of looking for him, and he was out. I don't know where he was, but he comes back with like a pack of beers. And like I said, you guys, on this, in the scenes where it's just Dean and he's kind of like, you know, when he's interacting with the guys, it's like fun, and I'm interested because I like the friendship dynamic. But for the most part, in the scenes where he's not with Hannah, anyway, the guys are really funny though. This scene I did really like. We sort of move on to the scene where Dean was with Kendall, and like I said, you guys, when he was like interacting with anyone that wasn't Hannah, I just, you know, I was not interested. I'm so sorry. I'm just not interested. But Kendall's a very beautiful girl, and she's like, I guess he's been like, they're not dating, but he's been like hooking up with her, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, and she asks him if he'd like to have like some non-alcoholic fun, because he's just told her that he doesn't do more than just one beer on game nights. or the night before a game. So she's like, do you want to go have like some non-alcoholic fun? Anyway, and then we cut to the bar where Hannah works. I don't know if it's a bar. It's like a deli, a restaurant or something. I don't know. Can you guess what Can you guess what I was trying to make this time? Yes? No? Maybe? I'm not very artistic, but I feel like this is kind of obvious. Is it? I don't know. Maybe it isn't. Anyway, so Hannah is watching Justin. Justin, if you are unfamiliar with the books, is like her crush that she's like, he's a singer, he's a musician, he's in a band, and she's had a crush on him for the longest like time, and she's kind of like watching him sing, and she's just she's obsessed. And Allie's like, she should talk to him, and Ellie's telling her about a party that Justin's gonna be at, and is trying to, by the way, this scene where Ellie is sitting on the counter, wow, gorgeous, she looks absolutely stunning, but I was like, I don't know if like I would go back to eat at that restaurant if the waiters were just sitting on the counters or on the tables. Anyway, but she looks gorgeous. I love her hair, like I've already said. Anyway, so she's trying to convince Hannah to go out with her so she can talk to Justin. Hannah says no. Hannah also tells Allie about walking in on Garrett in the shower. And Allie's like, oh my god, how did he look? And she's like, he looked naked. I don't know. I mean, I agree. He looked very naked. But she kind of says no to going out to the party. And Ellie's like insisting, and she kind of like reluctantly agrees. Not really, but basically in this scene she's just talking about how, you know, she needs to be working on her music. And this was the scene where I was like, because they made a Taylor Swift like Folklore and Midnight reference. It was the first scene where I realized that this wasn't going to be accurate in terms of like the timeline, which I understood, but I did think it was still going to be set like sometime before 2020. It's not the case, which is fine, but this was just the first scene that made it very obvious to me that that wasn't going to be a case. So the next scene is like another montage where it's Hannah and Garrett. It's a montage of like both of what's going on for them that night, and Hannah is writing her music because she needs to get started writing the pop song that's going to help her secure like a scholarship. And because Garrett is failing his ethics class, he's supposed to be studying so he can do better in that class. And so that's what he's doing, right? You would think. No, that's not what he's doing. Instead, he's doing Kendall, because Kendall offered for them to have some non-alcoholic fun. Anyway, so Hannah struggles with kind of writing the song throughout the night, and I have to say that they got very graphic very quickly. I did not expect that. Anyway, so Kendall and Garrett kind of have a conversation about like, you know, officially being together, because they've kind of like been hooking up for months, apparently, I think. So she wants to know if she's gonna be like his girlfriend, and he's like tells her he doesn't do girlfriends, and that he just basically says that he's been very upfront with her about not wanting a girlfriend or like not wanting to be in a relationship. And she gets upset and she leaves, and I guess that's kind of like it for them. They kind of, I mean, they weren't dating, but they break up, as in they're not going to be, I guess, hooking up anymore, is what I got from this scene. And then the next scene is the guys. It's a montage of the guys, and they're working out. I really, really loved this scene. Like every scene where I'm seeing the boys together or Hannah with Garrett is so exciting for me because, like, if you've read the books, the relationship between the guys in the books was like so precious, and just like the found family aspect of like the books was like so precious, and it was what was like the most fun to read, the dynamics and the friendships between the characters. So seeing this like montage of the guys working out together and just like hanging out and talking and having breakfast and just like, you know, bantering, it was very like, it was fun. It was also very like true to what happens like in the books. It's so, hold on, wait, hold on, the scene is already passed and I need to show you guys. Wait, what do you think I was making this time? Guys, what does that look like? Come on, I feel like this is quite, hold on, this is quite obvious. You guys can guess that. You can't tell me that wasn't literally perfect. Okay, anyway, so in the scene, in the next scene that we see, it's Garrett and John Logan talking, and they're kind of, okay, so in the scene with Garrett and Kendall, where they had just like been intimate, Garrett gets a call from his dad and he doesn't pick it up. And so in this scene where he's talking to John Logan, his dad is like trying to get a hold of him again, and he's not answering, and Garrett is like, hey, he's your dad, you have to talk to him at some point. And I keep referencing the book, but I just have to. If you read the book, you know that Garrett's dad is actually very physically and emotionally abusive, and because of that you understand why Garrett wouldn't want to talk to his father. But this made me realize and remember, because I haven't done a reread of the books, it made me remember that I don't think that Garrett opens up to anyone that much. Like, you can tell he's very close with the boys and he's very close to John Logan. They're like best friends, but he doesn't understand, you know, exactly what Garrett is like going through, because the advice that he gives him, like, oh, you have to talk to him at some point, I don't think he would like give him that sort of advice if he knew what kind of man his father was. Anyway, but also I just don't know, like in future episodes, if we will see like Phil the way that we saw him in the books. Allie and Hannah, my queen Allie, oh my god, she's so gorgeous. I am so excited to see more of, well, honestly, I'm excited to see everyone, you guys. Every single character in all of the books was, you know, has like a special place in my heart, so I'm excited to see everyone. But Ellie's just my favorite girly pop, I fear. And the casting for Ellie was just so perfect. I just love her so much. Okay, so in this scene, Hannah is struggling to write the pop song, you know, the one she's supposed to be writing for her scholarship. But so she kind of, they talk about how Hannah prefers like classical music because it's easier, which, if you know anything about anything, I don't think that classical music is easier than, you know, writing a pop song. But I think we can all understand with what Hannah has gone through and like kind of what she struggles with emotionally, why it would be harder for her to write. Because with classical music, I think it's more about like, you know, the arrangement of the music, whereas with pop songs the lyrics are very important. Like you have to be like a good lyricist, I guess, to have a really good pop song. Anyway, but Ellie does ask Hannah what she wrote about in high school, because she did mention that she wrote when she was in high school, and Hannah has a flashback to a very traumatic thing that happened to her in high school, and she's just kind of like, you could tell why she has like this block and why she doesn't want to write. She doesn't want to like tap into that that part of her internally, because you know, she doesn't want to have to relive any of like the emotions that she felt when she could write, when she, you know, had like her traumatic experience back in high school. Okay, so anyway, she's back on her bike. She's zooming down the block again because she's late for her work at the deli, because my girl, she's just busy. She's busy woman. She's got like, she's juggling school and like 2 part-time jobs. She's doing it all. She's really busy. Anyway, she's working at the restaurant. And guess who walks in? It is not Garrett Graham. It is in fact Justin, who, by the way, can I just say, who told this guy that he was this cool? Like, he is actually not cool enough to be talking to her like this. Not that if he was like super cool, like he could still talk to her like this, but she's like kind of trying to have a conversation with him, and she's just telling him that, you know, she's also like, she's seen him play and that she loves his band, and she's like, because I work here, not because I'm like stalking you or anything. And he's like, yeah, I could tell from your uniform. And he's just like being super sassy. So I don't know what that was about. And she kind of like makes a like reference from Dirty Dancing, and he's like, can I just have my food? And he walks away, and in comes Garrett because of course Garrett is here. And Garrett is like, hey, so that was embarrassing. You probably shouldn't like throw yourself at him. And Garrett basically offers to pay Hannah to tutor him for that ethics class that he's failing, but is still kind of not studying for. I don't know. Anyway, Hannah says no. He's like, come on, nerd. Which on a... Do you know what? Like I said, Hannah is better than me because, I mean, I know we love Garrett, but like, what was that about? That would have made me so upset that he would like just not ask her name. She's like, you know, you could just ask my name, right? And he's like, usually girls just tell me. Anyway, I try. I'm really trying, Garrett, but anyway, so he asks her to tutor him because he like needs this so he can like play. And she gets really upset and annoyed, and she tells him, what, so you can beat people up? And he's like really taken aback and confused by this. And she tells him that hockey is actually the only non-combat sport that allows you to like beat people up, and you do not get ejected or like get in any trouble for it. Wait, I have to pause because I'm not done with what I was making. Oh god, wait. I have to show you. Maybe I should be using different colors. I feel like you'd be able to understand. What I was making if I was using different colors. That's what I should have been doing. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you this was supposed to be a sandwich. So, I mean, I bet you could have guessed that. Anyway, that was a sandwich because she was at a deli, you know? I don't know what kind of food they serve, but I was making a sandwich. So Garrett is like really like taken aback by her statement. And he's just like, it kind of like sets the tone for like the rest of his day. He's just like, it's kind of like triggered something in him. And I guess you can kind of understand like knowing his father and like knowing his childhood and how like, you know, what he had to go through. Anyway, so he goes home and he's with his friends, and guess who shows up? His abusive asshole of a father. And he's basically there to invite Garrett to his wedding because he has a new girlfriend that he's been dating for 6 months, and he wants Garrett to, you know, come to their wedding. Garrett is like, you guys have been dating for 6 months. What do you mean you're like getting married? And he's upset, but you can tell he's not upset because, you know, he's like throwing a tantrum, or he's like, oh, I like he doesn't want to see his like father move on or anything. And I believe, obviously, like knowing that his father was actually very abusive to his mother, and he was both abusive emotionally and physically, that he's just like really scared for Cindy, his father's new girlfriend, and he kind of like in a way is just like afraid of like her having to go through what his mother went through. Anyway, so we cut to the hockey game, and he is visibly not in it. He's not in it at all. He's having flashbacks of like his childhood when his father was like really abusive towards his mother. His father is actually at the game with his new girlfriend, because even though he told him that he'll only see him at the wedding and that he doesn't want to see him, his father still showed up. So Garrett is having a terrible time. He's playing a terrible game, and he eventually gets thrown into the penalty box. Meanwhile, Hannah is actually working at this game. Obviously, my girl, she just never stops. She is a busy girl. Anyway, while she's working, she kind of overhears people talking about Garrett and how terrible he's doing in the game. One of the voices she recognizes, and she kind of turns to see like a familiar face. It sends her into kind of like a panic attack, and she like runs off, and she ends up running into a green room where there's like a cassette player and a piano. Because music is kind of her outlet, she stays in there and plays some music. Garrett is now in the locker room with his teammates, and he's having like kind of a meltdown. His teammates are kind of like confused. He walks away, and John Logan is like, hey, the game is not over, and he just kind of like ignores everyone, and he walks off. And Hannah puts on The Bitch Is Back by Elton John to kind of like make herself feel better. And Garrett is walking down the hall, and he kind of overhears the music and overhears Hannah singing and playing on the piano. And he kind of like goes over towards the green room. He sees Hannah just like dancing around and playing on the piano and, you know, singing, and he watches her from the window, and his mood kind of shifts, and he's smiling more, he's laughing, and he goes back out to play with the rest of his team, and he's visibly, you know, in a like better mood than he was when he finished the first like half of the game, I guess. I know nothing about hockey, so I'm guessing that was the first half. Anyway, I think this was such a good song choice, by the way, because after that, The Bitch Actually Is Back, and Garrett Graham basically leads his team to victory. I loved the scene. I loved the song choice. I loved hearing Hannah's voice. She sounds beautiful. And this was just overall the perfect like montage. I love kind of like the editing style of just like montage after montage. I'm having such a great time with the way that they have kind of like the style that they've kind of chosen. Hannah's mood also kind of lifts after like the panic attack that she had, which I relate so much to Hannah, and like how music is the one thing that kind of like makes it all worth it. The scene was just like so beautiful. I loved it so much. Anyway, so can you tell what I was making? I mean, I'm not done, and I'm not going to finish because the scene is over, but I'm gonna move the camera so you can see. Can you tell? I think I actually did really good. I think I should probably incorporate other colors, but I don't have enough time, you guys. But this is kind of obvious, no? I don't know, guys. Please tell me I'm doing really good in the comments, because I think I'm doing really good. I'm not artistic, but I'm trying, okay? Anyway, Allie is trying to convince Hannah to go to the party because Justin's going to be there, and she can like you know, got to talk to him. I don't know. But yeah. So Hannah eventually agrees. Allie gets Hannah to actually agree to go. And they go to the party. While they're at the party, Garrett Graham, my king, dear Lord, the entire time he's just sitting there stalking Hannah's Instagram. As he should. Hello? As he literally should. That's exactly what I would be doing if I was Garrett Graham and I met Hannah. I would be stalking her. Well, wait, hold on. No, not stalking. Not like stalking her, but like, I mean, I would be just as upset. I would be so obsessed. Like, she is funny. She's smart. She's like so talented. Hello? Anyway, he doesn't know what her Instagram is, so he's like stalking the page for, I guess, the restaurant where she works. And he's like, hey, that girl, what's her name again? He asks John Tucker, which, can I just say, like, in my perfect world, like, I know that Garrett and Hannah are perfect together, and Grace and Logan are perfect together, but I really think that I really would have loved John, Logan, and Hannah. Every other scene in this first episode and in the second one, like, John Logan was so cute, you guys. Okay, I will talk about this in the second episode so you guys can understand why I think he would just be so perfect for Hannah. Like, I love him with Grace. I understand that Hannah, like, belongs with Garrett, but I don't know. Like this kind of made me ship them a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, so it gets kind of dark, and they're just like, you know, they're at the party, they're listening to music, they're vibing, and and then we finally officially get our first Dean and Allie kind of scene. Obviously, Dean is a manhole, you guys. Dean is a manhole. Dean is like making out with like some other girl, but he's like staring at Allie the entire time, and it's like, I don't know, kind of uncomfy because she's just like standing there with her boyfriend staring. But I was still very excited to see them together in the same scene. Hello. Anyway, so Allie and Hannah are like talking, and Allie finally like encourages Hannah to go talk to Justin. Hold on. Can you tell what I'm making? Just you wait. I'm not done yet. So, Allie kind of like encourages Hannah to go talk to Justin, and she's like walking over, and this is your clue as to what I'm making, by the way. Okay, she's walking over, and she gets a drink spilled on her. So like, she's wearing a white shirt, you guys, and she gets a drink spilled on her. I think that was John Tucker, actually, that spilled the drink on her. Anyway, and now her shirt is, like, super wet, and Justin sees her, and he's like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, and she goes over to talk to him. She's like, hey, I think we, like, got off on the wrong foot. Oh, sorry about that. She's like, hey, I think we got off on the wrong foot because, like, I'm a musician, too, and, like, you know, I just, like, wanted to say hi, I guess. And he's like, what kind of music are you into? She's like, oh, you know, mostly classical. And he's like, ew, classical. I mean, he didn't say ew, but he made a face, and it basically just looked like he was like kind of annoyed. Anyway, she's like kind of trying to talk to him, and she's fumbling on her words, which I don't get it, Hannah. Like, you're so much cooler than him. But anyway, Garrett Graham saves the day. Obviously, he comes over, and he's like, he takes off his jacket and he puts it around her. Sorry. I'm so excited for this. And now fuckface, what's his name, Justin, is officially like excited to like talk to Hannah. He's like, oh, and you're Hannah, right? Oh, so you knew her name this entire time, and she was trying to talk to you, and you behaved like you were like some cool superstar. I was so annoyed, guys. I don't know why Hannah would still be attracted to him after this, but I was just so annoyed with Justin. The actor is actually kind of a really good singer. I like when he did the cover for Into You by Ariana. But yeah, I hate Justin's fuckface. I really hate him. Anyway, so this is like the official like proposal for the deal. So Hannah is like, hey, what did you think you're doing? Hey, what do you think you're doing? And Garrett is like, you know, if he thinks that you belong to like one of the coolest guys on campus, aka me, he's gonna want you. And he's right, because Justin's fuckface starts to like take interest and is like watching her from across like the other side of the party after this. He's like just, you know, he's so interested, and it's so annoying. It's so annoying because you should just be interested in Hannah, like, just from the moment you set eyes on her. Like, look at her. Hello? Are you kidding me? I loved this very last scene because Garrett, like, really opens up. Well, not really opens up, but somewhat. For someone that's, like, talking to a complete stranger, he really opens up. He like tells Hannah that his mother died from cancer, and just a couple other things that I don't think, you know, he would like reveal to anyone else. And he also admits that he's not trying to get shortcuts and like pass the class just to pass it. Like, he wants to actually do good, and he wants to understand like why he's failing and like fix his mistakes and actually like do well in the class, not just get by, which is why he needs her help. Anyway, this is kind of like officially where they propose the deal. He's gonna help Hannah like get Justin by like being Hannah's fake boyfriend, and Hannah will tutor him in return. And he also says that he's going to pay her, obviously, as he should. So yeah, and that's kind of it for episode 1, you guys. I don't know, I'm so excited. Like, okay, was I annoyed at Garrett for a couple like of the things he did and said in this first episode? Yes, I was a little bit, but I understand that this is just like, you know, I don't know, like, his character obviously like transforms a lot as the episodes like go by. So I'm not too annoyed with him, and I'm just so excited. And every scene of them together, the chemistry is insane. I love it already. I love them already. I love like all the guys already. I love the entire like dynamic already. And yeah, if you are excited for the rest of these videos, episode 2 will be coming up probably shortly after episode 1 comes out. I haven't decided if I'm going to do everything in 2s or if I'm going to do like an episode, like I'm going to cover 1 episode in every video. But yeah, anyway, can you guys tell what I was making this time? You can, right? Like, look at that. That's so obvious. Look at it. Like, really get a look at it, you guys. This is so obvious. I hope you can tell. If you could, please leave all your guesses. I mean, I don't think they're going to be I think you guys will be able to get everything right because it was very obvious. But leave your guesses in the comments and I can tell you guys if you're right or wrong. Anyway, I'm so excited for episode 2. I'm about to start it literally right away. I'm going to take out all the other doughs so that for episode 2, I can use multiple colors because I think that will be easier for you guys to tell. But I think I'm doing so good. I'm literally such an artiste. Oh my god. Anyway, see you in a second.